I've done it. I've finally done it. I've created a full human. All I need is the brain. Igor? Yes, the brain. Igor, you imbecile!
Binoy the science boy.
Science rules.
Binoy the science boy. Binoy the science boy. Binoy the science boy.
You're watching TV right now. You're seeing me and the background, and you're hearing me. Now, how do you know what I'm saying? How do you know what these sounds are, and how are you understanding the words? Well, you see, the answer lies in the brain. Now, the brain is essentially an organ that takes in all this information from all your senses, and it processes that and tells you how to react to that information. But you see, the brain isn't just a simple organ. It has many parts. Hi, Binoy Mays here for the brain. Now, the brain is a wonderful organ that can do many complex functions. Whether it be, doing some math, taking a bath, eating a snack, the brain can do it. You think it, you'll do it. The brain. Order now and we'll give you a temporal lobe, frontal lobe, parietal lobe, and occipital lobe. In fact, we'll give you a brainstem too. Honestly, the brain is the single greatest organ in our body. I can't think of a world without it. And if you order within the next 24 hours, we'll throw in another hemisphere for free. Think about it. You get 2 hemispheres for the price of 1. The brain. You'll lobe it. Now, your brain doesn't just react to new information coming in. It also controls all the little processes needed for keeping you alive, such as breathing and keeping your heartbeat going. Now, how does it do that? Well, the answer lies in the brainstem, this little inner portion of the brain right here, which is actually located over here on our wonderful model, Jinsung. Now, your brainstem controls all the little things that are needed to keep you alive. And without the brainstem, you would just die. Ah!
I'm never gonna forget that.
Well then, Jinsung, what you need is the hippocampus. Because the hippocampus takes all the memories that you want to remember and it helps you to remember them. Why the heck do you have my laptop? Get it back. God.
Ah! Yeah!
See, now, my good friend Andrew over here clearly doesn't have a very well-developed frontal lobe. You see, the frontal lobe is the part of the brain that allows you to look at your current actions and predict the future consequences. So while Andrew may be having fun right now, he doesn't know of the future. He's not thinking about the future consequences of the intense hangover and the lost brain cells. What a dummy. Now, your cerebellum, which means little brain, is located right here. Now, what it does is it controls movement, right? Moving, and you're walking, right? So that's what makes the difference between a walk like this, look at him go, and a normal walk like that.
This combination of cells seems to have no limitations. Unlike the most spectacular electronic brain, this machine can think for itself.
Hi, Vivian. So what just allowed me to recognize Vivian and tell who she was my occipital lobe in the back area of your brain. What it does is it takes in visual information and processes it. It does things like object and facial recognition. Now, say if I don't recognize someone or they freak me out, if I don't recognize that as a face, my occipital lobe isn't doing its job.
Hi, my name is Bear Bottom.
and I'm the best damn survivalist in soy horror. Now, my first tip for survival is to protect your medulla. It's right here in your neck. Now, the medulla controls your heartbeat and your breathing, the basics of survival. Alright, be careful. Oh, yes. Now, this is what I was looking for. Now, follow me. See this? This is sustenance. Now, sustenance is how you survive. No sustenance, no survival. I always said, Mother Nature will provide. Now, how did I find that food right there? Yeah, it's not magic, it's science. See right here? It's your pawns. If you have sense of direction and purpose. I went out to the world to find food. And guess what I found? I found food. Now, that is perfect. But without these pawns, I would have no direction. I'd have no purpose. The tip for survival is to always stay alert. Follow me. You hear that? I hear a bird. Now, the best way to defend yourself from a bird is to act like a bird. Worst case scenario, it thinks you're a mate. Now, get down.
What are you saying? I only speak English!
You see, the situation that we have here is the left brain and the right brain. Now, the left brain only speaks Korean, while the right brain only speaks English. So what do? We need something to connect them. What we need is the corpus callosum, the thing that connects the two hemispheres and allows them to communicate with one another. So here we have Andrew. He's going to listen to what Jinsung has to say.
너 바보야.
He says he's been banging your girlfriend. You hear that? My neither. The bird's gone. Now what you see there is that I use my thalamus, which controls all senses except for smell. And I use it to stay alert, to warn me that the bird was coming. Really worried there, mate. I thought that bird was gonna eat us. Well, no better time than this to rest and prepare for the coming day. You gonna drink your waste, mate?
Nope.
Oh, thank you. Now that is what I call survival.
Now, the most diverse lobe in your brain is the parietal lobe, which is in the top back of your brain. It lets you do a lot of things, such as complex number calculations, as Vivian is doing over here. 2 plus 2? Right, that's 5. Now, it also lets you do other things, such as thinking about the manipulation of objects, as Andrew is very carefully observing this cube. And another thing it does is it takes in a lot of sensory information, such as the feeling of touch, as Jinsung is so wonderfully touching himself here.
Hey Daniel, your fly is down.
What? I can't hear you!
Your fly is down.
What? I guess my temporal lobe isn't doing its job. You see, kids, the temporal lobe is the lobe that deals with audio information. It takes in all those audio signals and it figures out what the words are. I guess my temporal lobe wasn't working well enough for me to hear Andrew. I guess my fly is down. Now, poor Jinsung over here was frightened by Andrew's beautiful face and his beautiful mole mask. Now, what's going on there is his amygdala is at play. The amygdala is a part of the brain that processes emotions. So, come with me and observe these two people. One is extremely sluggish, bored, slow. The other one is extremely aroused. Just look at him go. Now, what controls this crazy arousal? Well, what controls the arousal is the reticular formation. The reticular formation is an area in between the ears, a series of neural networks that controls the level of consciousness. It dictates how excited you are. Now, the hippocampus, the area of your brain right around here, is the part of your brain that is involved in encoding items into long-term memory. So whenever you get new information that needs to be put from short-term memory into long-term memory, that's the hippocampus at work. See, Andrew over here is very furiously memorizing all this psych vocab, and he's using his hippocampus to get that all into his long-term memory. Now, as I talk to Vivian, she understands and comprehends everything that I'm saying. The raw sounds, the auditory information that is coming out of my mouth, her brain converts that into words and sentences and processes it. How does she do that? Well, she uses something very special called Wernicke's area.
Where's Nikki?
No, Wernicke. Her Wernicke's area is working really well because she's actually laughing at what I'm saying. Now, pretend there was someone having a conversation, right? As Andrew and Dinsan are here. Their heated conversation involves both understanding what the other person is saying, but also creating new language, creating more words to return to the other person. They're using Broca's area. So, Wernicke's area...
Where's Nikki?
No, Wernicke. Wernicke's area is just for comprehending what's coming at you, for comprehending auditory language, things that are coming at you, whereas Broca's is for generating new language.